Hi everyone, welcome to my second live session for the COVID-19 series. Today's guest is Mr. Chin Yi Xuan from No Manila, who will be discussing the various insurance policies and its coverage for COVID-19 patients. Hi everyone, hi. Thank you so much for joining in. So I'll be inviting Mr. Chin Yi Xuan. I started following him last year, especially when I wanted to learn about investments, trading. Hang on. So I wanted to learn about investments, trading. I wanted to learn about hold on just a little bit. I'm trying to get... Hi, Eliza. I'm trying to look for... So as usual, being the doctor, I'm a little bit of a noob with all these things. So trying to get Mr. Yi Xuan to join in. Until then, okay, so let me just give a little bit of introduction. So just to give a little bit of a background, so today we'll be talking about COVID-19 insurance policies and how much they cover for our patients, whether they're inpatients, outpatients, and a few other topics of interest. So just to give you a little bit of a background, when you're admitted to the government hospitals or MIAPs or any of the centers that are managed by the government sector, it will be free of charge. Your charges are waived according to the Infectious Disease Act, right? But however, if you're admitted to private sector, so which means a hospital, a medical center, since January this year, we know that most hospitals or private centers have started admitting patients. So these are basically chargeable. Previously, we all know that everybody used to be admitted using the GL, guarantee letter, or insurance policies, various insurance policies, or they're cash-paying patients, which majority being either GL or insurance-paying. However, there have been a lot of discussion since last year with regards to insurance coverage when it comes to COVID-19 patients. So as we know, a lot of them are getting admitted to ICU, and the charges for ICU versus normal wards a big difference. So your normal wards can range anywhere between 500 to 2,000 a day, but the ICU charges can go up to even 5 to 10,000 a day, depending on what equipment you need, whether you are ventilated, whether you need a lot of medications, and whether you need some sort of immunomodulating medications. So all this is very important. Hang on, let me just see if Mr. Yi Xuan has joined us. Just give me a moment, yeah. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'm still having a bit of a problem to add him in. Hang on. Hi everyone, sorry, a little bit of a technical glitch here. I'm trying to add Mr. Yi Xuan into the... So... Still waiting for him to come on live. Hang on. Hi Yi Xuan, if you're there, maybe you could send me a request to go live. Yes, okay, I saw it. Yes. Hi Yi Xuan.
Hi,
Did I
doctor.
pronounce your... Hi. Thank you for joining in. I think there was a bit of a glitch just now. I couldn't find you on the list. But all okay? Can everybody hear us?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, very good. So I was just giving a little bit of an introduction earlier about how I started following you in the first MCO to learn about investments, trading, REITs, but now the topic of my interest, which is insurance policies and how the coverage and what's actually happening in terms of how do we manage our patients, especially in the private sector. I know that we don't need to use insurance policies if you're admitted in the government hospital. So how does this how does this affect those who are getting admitted to the private hospital, since we are now admitting both sides, government and private hospitals? So without further ado, let me just invite Yi Xuan officially and maybe you'd like to tell us about yourself a little bit more. I love your name, by the way, No Money La.
All right. Yeah, thanks, doctor. So my name is Yi Xuan. I'm founder of my blog called No Money La. So recently I published an article about the insurance coverage on COVID-19, because I realized a lot of people, they tend to assume, right? Assuming is a very scary word, but yeah, when you assume too much, it's dangerous. So back to the story, a lot of people tend to assume that they are covered by insurance if they are infected by COVID-19, or when their parents or loved ones are infected by COVID-19. So I realized that is actually not the case, and a lot of people actually do not know about that, right? And they are not informed by their insurance agents or financial planners. So, and hence the reason, even though I'm not a financial planner, I'm not an insurance agent, I took some time to compile all these details together, so more people have clarity about what they are covered or what they are not covered on, when it comes to COVID.
I came across that article a few weeks back, and I thought it was a very interesting, comprehensive article. So I thought the more people out there know about it, I think it's best for most of us, especially since we're all taking all sorts of insurance, whether it's a health insurance, life insurance. We need to know how much and what it actually covers when we're admitted for COVID-19. So to begin straight off, what do we know about insurance coverage for COVID-19, whether it's inpatient or outpatient? What do we know?
Right. So again, let me just emphasize that I'm not an insurance agent or licensed financial planner. So yes, whoever that's watching tonight, anything that you need to get clarity of, please approach them. So I'll share what I know. So when it comes to insurance on COVID-19, that's one very, very important thing that we need to know is COVID-19 is a pandemic. And for most insurance policies at the modern time, which is where we are living right now, since the SARS outbreak back in a few, like 10 plus years ago, right, there have been a clause that where most insurance coverage or medical cards do not cover for pandemic, right? So whatever that I tell you right now or later, right, in our conversation, most likely they are given in I forgot the word, but they're given insurance agent have the rights to not give that protection to you. So that's a point that I want to say. So
you mean they have the right to reject you? They have the right to reject, right?
I'll kind of explain more. So what happened is insurance agents, right? What you need to know when it comes to COVID-19 coverage is they are giving out a lot of they share a lot of protections, right? Like example is Great Eastern, they are giving like coverage for their policyholders, right? Whether you are admitted to hospitals, right? Or whether you whether upon death, right, you are given a certain amount of coverage, and it doesn't require you to as long as you are the policyholder of the insurance company. So, but the thing is, when it comes to the coverage, this protection that they give you, right, is not actually not covered by your medical card. It's given on behalf of on a goodwill basis. Yes, that's a word, on a goodwill basis, and it's not covered by your medical card or insurance policy, most of them, right? Because of the clause that I mentioned, right? It's not covered by pandemic. Insurance company do not cover pandemic, that particular clause. So that's something that everyone needs to know. So so I guess doctor, you have you want to continue the conversation, or
so in your whatever that you've actually read up on, so what should one do to increase or change their policies? Is there such a way that we can actually change our policies to cover for COVID-19?
Yes, I do in my article, right, which I think everyone can read. There are a few things that you can do is, okay, so the context here is unfortunately, right, with the exception of AIA, right, and perhaps some old Prudential medical cards and also some old Prudential medical cards and also Etica medical card which have time limit, right? Except for these three, I know for a fact that a lot of other companies, modern medical cards, or do not cover for a lot of stuff. Essentially, once they only give you the goodwill stuff, right? Which then once the amount is passed, is done, then that's pretty much that. So in order to increase your coverage, what you can do is there are certain, you can go consult some medical cards that do pay for pandemic coverage, right? Especially AIA medical cards, or you can go for online, cheaper, more affordable alternative that cover COVID-19 specifically. Example, the AIA Online Shield or the Etica e-medical pass, which everyone can buy online without going through an agent. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, wow, that's interesting. So basically, most insurance companies do not cover for COVID-19 because it's a pandemic. So it's considered like a disaster, those kind of things. That's why they don't cover. So basically, you need to either have a different sort of aspect from your card. You can't use your usual policies. You have to either top up with another policy, or you have to buy a totally different COVID-19 coverage policy. Am I right?
Yes,
is that
in
what you're
general,
saying?
that's the idea. So it's
So, and it
best.
varies according to different companies. So like you mentioned, AIA has a different one, Etica has a different one, so Prudential will have something different. So every company will have a different sort of either a top up or a different policy altogether to see if they cover.
In a way, I would say, again, because it's hard to cover insurance, such a broad topic of insurance in this a few minutes time, but I would say, what if for everyone that's watching right now, right, what you need to know is most of the medical cards, except for some for AIA medical cards, some old Prudential medical cards, and also Etica medical card, right, except for these three, right, the others, it's best for you to get additional coverage. That which is the names that I mentioned, the brand, the AIA Online Shield, right? The Etica e-medical pass that I mentioned just now. So yeah, and just go check out my article because I have like a full summary there. Yeah.
And so what insurance covers? So now besides COVID-19, so now if they're admitted for COVID-19 post-vaccines, as we all know, everybody is rushing to get their vaccine now. Yeah. So if you do have a side effect, you've got a high fever, you feel lethargic, you don't feel so good, you're going to get admitted for whatever post-vaccine side effects. Is there any policy that covers that?
Actually, when it comes to vaccine, because it's also part of a pandemic, so technically it's not covered by the insurance companies, but most insurance companies have come up with some form of a goodwill, right, to their customers, where they covers effects, right, or post-vaccination effects. If you experience something that needs hospitalization and so on, they do give you some form of cover. But as I mentioned in my article, right, it's actually not a lot, but at least it's some form of coverage. Yeah.
Something. I see. Okay. And so we, just to round it up a little bit, so we know that whatever policy you have, best to still discuss with your insurance agents, or go directly, or you can look online in the FAQs and things like that, or of course go and read your article, which you have on your Insta page as well as your blog, No Manila, right? So your article clearly writes what we should know and what we should look at in terms of policy as well as post-vaccine and things like that. So just to end it a little bit, to summarize a little bit, so we all know that we need a lot of money at the moment, right, to cover ourselves for our health, to maintain ourselves in this lockdown, since most of us can't even get much of a job and our revenues have been hit. So what are your sort of tips for people out there to save money at a time like this, during a lockdown, during a pandemic? What would be your tips?
I would say, cut down on unnecessary expenses, right? We all know today is 6/6, right? Most people would likely be spending today, but I would say spend less, right? That's a key here. Spend less, know what kind of spending behavior that you have in life, right? Cut down on those that are unnecessary ones, right? And aside from that, because now we are in the lockdown, right? Most likely you don't have much things to do during the weekends, right? Do something, right? Use your skills, right? To upskill yourself, then try to monetize on your skills. I think that's something that's most important to most people right now. Yeah.
If there was one way that someone could do, or one thing that someone could do to sort of do an investment, so to like, if they've got a certain amount of money, and what would be the safest thing? I know FD rates are really low at the moment, so something that's doable. Are REITs something that you want to look at, or at this point would we look at something like crypto? Would we look at something like American investments? Because our bursa is definitely out. So what do you think we should look at, or just keep our money and keep our cash on hand?
Well, I would say, first of all, most important before you even talk about investing, for everyone that's watching, make sure you have enough cash, right? For emergency, right? That's the most important thing. Then once you get that sorted out and you want to start investing, right? I would say you could start on a low barrier of entry point of view. You could start with robot advisors like StashAway, right, and Wahid, or reach out to a financial planner, right, so that they can help you out with your investment. Yeah, I would say so.
Yeah.
And not trying to go into high risk investments like crypto without understanding what those things are.
Agreed. So most important, have an emergency fund and make sure you don't use your emergency fund for any form of investment.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Learned a lot from following you as well. So any last messages that you'd like to say to everybody out there with regards to their insurance policies, investments, or anything that you'd like to say to everyone out there who's listening?
Yes, of course, Doctor. So for anyone that's watching today, thank you so much for having me, Doctor. And insurance, when it comes to insurance coverage for COVID, I would say please go and understand what exactly you or your loved ones are covered for, because it's not as simple as it seems, right? You cannot assume that because you pay for your insurance every month, right, you are covered you are covered naturally by your insurance company. No, that's not the case, right? That's what I found out personally when I do the research myself. So very important, go and understand what you're covered and not covered, right? And if you realize you're undercovered for COVID, which is actually a very expensive thing, right? ICU, right, and hospitalization can cost 20K to 30K minimum in private hospitals. So if you realize that you or your loved ones are undercovered, go get some affordable coverage online, right? Talk to your insurance agent on what you can do. And my article, I also provided some alternatives on what you can do as well. So hopefully, I hope it's helpful. I genuinely hope I'm able to help give more people clarity on this matter. Yeah. And do follow me on No Money lah.
Yeah, no money lah. We all want some money. So thank you so much for clarifying that with us. So once again, discuss with your insurance agents. If you're not too sure, also you need to know what sort of policy you're having, because there's so many policies out there with various types of coverage. You need to know what you're covered for, how much you're covered for, and what level of coverage you have, single bedded, those kind of things, whether you're covered fully for ICU. We all know that COVID hits everybody at different levels. So you might be one of those category 1 or 2 that you're just admitted to the ward and you're done, but you might fall into the category 3, 4, 5, where you will be admitted to ICU. And like I mentioned, that can go up to 5,000 to 10,000 a day. So you don't want to run all your savings, your life savings, for something that's, that you may or may not survive from. So I think it's very important for you to know what you're covered for. So do discuss this with your insurance agents. And if there are any questions, you can always just DM me, or you can always follow Yi Xuan as well and see what we can come up with. So before I end, I'm just going to mention to everybody that I've got another live session tomorrow. And that's with the gastroenterologist, hepatologist, Dr. Prabjot Sidhu. I'll put up an invite later after this. And with that, I'd like to thank you and have a good night. Thank you so much, Yi Xuan.
Thanks, Doctor, for having me. Thank you so much. Stay safe, stay healthy.
You too. Stay safe.
Okay,
bye.